Hello, everybody. This is DFS Chan coming to you here to talk about February. It's already February 2nd. League of Legends DFS slate. We have a 5-game slate. That's pretty rare these days, but we have it Friday, Saturday, Sundays. So it's very exciting at this time of the week. So yeah, let me share my screen. Let's go that way so that we have some sort of order when we talk about these things. I think that makes a lot of sense. All right, so I posted the starters for the LPL that are confirmed, as you can see in my tweet. And then we have the LCK starters that are expected. And these can change. You saw, was it this morning or yesterday? Okay, Savings Breon had a new jungler. And then I think Nongshim Red Force had a different mid laner in Fiesta for one of the games. So in the LCK, I just wanted to emphasize that these are expected starters. They don't finalize the starters announced until 1 hour before the first LCK game. And that's only for the first game. For the second LCK game, we don't really get any starter confirmation announcement. So I know somebody messaged me about that yesterday, so I just wanted to re-emphasize that. LCK, we just get confirmed starters for the first game, but we get them only 1 hour prior to the LCK, the first LCK matchup. All right, so since we have a 5-game slate, I'll jump right in. First game, it's NIP versus WE. NIP is a sizable favorite at minus 250. Minus 250. I think see something. So I think since I posted this, was it 7:33 Eastern time? The odds for NIP have gone up to minus 275. So a lot of money coming into NIP to win. And I agree with that. I think NIP has been playing very well. I think they deserve these odds over Team WE, which is a sizable underdog at plus 200. And they really haven't been playing as well as NIP. Now, in terms of the matchup analysis on the metric side of things, really everything kind of points to NIP. I think the jungle control percentage, NIP sits at plus 1.9% difference advantage there, and Aki really has been playing well. He's been playing well compared to Hung. Like I said, Aki was the question mark coming into this season for NIP, for me at least. And he really has proved me wrong so far in the split that he, is one of the better junglers in the LPL right now. And then also the jungler EGPM difference earned gold per minute. The key metric that I look at when I compare individual players in their individual roles. I think NIP is up by plus 30, which is a sizable difference. Aki over Hung. And then if you look at any other metrics, really, they all favor NIP except for the top lane matchup here between Wayward versus Shanji. But that's, Shanji can pop off at any time as well. And he's very, very well experienced to mitigate any, top lane difference that, Wayward has been playing really well for them. So I'm not, I have no doubt that Shanji is going to hold his own in the top lane against Wayward. And really, that's really the only path based on the data that we have that Team WE can win this matchup through the top half of the map if they were to win this series. and every other metric points to NIP's direction, which means they have a lot more win conditions. So I'm going to go with NIP to win in this matchup. In terms of the kill upside, I think the total kills over under was set at 23, 23.5 rather. And then let's see, CKPM was at 1.38 aggregate. So it's pretty high. I mean, I think that is the highest that we have on the slate, along with two other matches that we'll talk about. So we have a lot of matches that hover around the same total kills over under threshold, and also similar CKPM numbers. So it'll be interesting to make which one to a long, make it a long stack versus short stack. I do think this one deserves a long stack conversation, at least for NIP. NIP has been playing pretty fast at 0.71 themselves, whereas Team WE has been playing at 0.67. And I know they're about 7 games into the season, 2 series or 3 series. So I think that's a pretty sizable sample. I wish, maybe 1 or 2 more series in for these teams respectively, we can have a much more reliable data. But still, nonetheless, I think that tells me that, I think this is a worth this could be a matchup to target when it comes to deciding long stacks versus short stacks. And NIP really should win this matchup based on the data. All right, we have the next matchup is Ultra Prime versus FPX. I hesitate because Ultra Prime really has been one of the worst, if not the worst, team in the LPL. I think I posted some tweets after their last game where Doggo played Rammus, a non-traditional 80 carry champion. Period. Never seen it. Never seen it at 80 carry. And he pulled it out. And Joy was playing Yumi. So they have a unique combinations that they're maybe experimenting, but then I don't even know why they want to experiment at this point. I mean, they are one of the worst teams and their record is bad. I just don't know where they're heading, right? Like, over the last couple of years, they've been really bad. And even looking at the metrics, today for this matchup, everything points to FPX. FPX actually has been playing pretty well since they got the new, have been starting the new jungler in Milky Way. Milky Way's has been playing pretty well with the team. With him at jungle, I think the EGPM difference between Milky Way versus Hacker is quite significant. It's setting at plus 36 in favor of FPX jungler. And then also like other EGPMs, if you guys take a look at it, and I'll show you right here, maybe this is a good one to kind of take a look at. FPX Ultra Prime. Every single one really favors FPX. You see the mid lane is right here. Well, let's go start with the jungler, right? Because that's where I put a lot of emphasis in. You see Milky Way. Moyan is the one that played the first game, I think, started the first game, but Milky Way has been starting at jungle for them since then. And Hackers down here, you see it's a pretty sizable difference. Like I said, they're plus 36 in EGPM for Milky Way. And then if you look at 80 carry, it also favors FPX's 80 carry Duck Dom, although I don't really like that guy. Numbers don't lie. Support, even there, FPX is favored there in terms of EGPM. Mid laner as well, care over Yukai. Yukai has not played, I think I said this on the last video, but Yukai had not played at the LPL level in a while, and he's coming back. He made a comeback to play at the LPL level, and he has been struggling quite a bit, especially when you compare his numbers to Cares. Cares is pretty far up along with the EGPM comparison there. And then the top lane as well. I mean, Xiao who has been playing better than Decade. So every single lane favors FPX. I think FPX is a sizable favorite. Yeah, minus 400. So I do think they deserve those odds, just as based based on how poorly Ultra Prime has been playing. So I do think FPX should win this. Now, in terms of, do I think they will win FPX? Yeah, I think they will. But I think I still have some doubts over FPX. This roster is not that great. Some unknown products like Milky Way. Milky Way is probably the only unknown product at this time, but still, I have, since it's such an important position for me, at least, I still have few doubts there for Milky Way, but the numbers look good. The numbers look good. And the bottom lane is where I have a lot of question marks in Duck Diamond Life, but they, they're better than Doggo and Joy, right? So I guess I'm not saying that FPX is one of the better teams in the LPL, but when you compare them against Ultra Primes, that's when you see FPX's numbers are much better and prospects are much better. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do I have a lot of FPX. In terms of kill upside, I think total kills over under is set at 22.5, which is one less than the NIP matchup that we just talked about. And then the CKPM is sitting at 1.42, which is the highest among the LPL matchups today. So it's a good one to target. I think FPX should win and has the high kill environment that we're looking for compared to other matches. All right, the third LPL match is AL versus LGD. And this is an interesting one. Like, I really don't have any good lean on this one. Like, for the first two matchups, we talked about how NIP and FPX, both of the favorites in those matchups, I had a pretty good support with data to confirm, those odds. But here, really, the metrics are kind of back and forth, favoring either of these teams, really. I know Anyone's Legend is a favorite by Vegas odds at minus 174. And then LGD is is an underdog at plus 133. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a toss up. I mean, if you guys go look at the metrics that I typically look at, you'll see they're kind of split both ways. Even the jungler EGPM difference is only sitting at a single digit difference in favor of LGD. Now, Meteor compared to Croco, yeah, I mean, I think both are like about average, I would say in the LPL. And Croco, it's a new team for him, so his numbers are only going to get better as he gets more integrated into his team, playing with his teammates more. He's only 3 weeks in with the team at the LPL level, not speaking Chinese. I know, I think Kale speaks Korean and their support, but still, nonetheless, it's been. I think some of the voice comms talked about how difficult it's been, for him to communicate with his teammates and everything. But still, like, even with those like difficulties and challenges, they've been playing pretty well. So I do think it's only going to get better. And Anyone's Legend has better players, so to speak. That's just my opinion, but I think I mean, if you go through by lane, like the jungler, I think Croco has a little bit more upside and ceiling. Now, in terms of the metrics, I think they're about the same at the moment. Now, in the mid lane is where it gets interesting. I do think Hai Chao has been playing really well. this split so far. Surprisingly, I think he had a poor season last year, but this year he's been playing well, and his metrics are good as well. He has a much higher EGPM than Shanks, I believe. Yep. And then let's see. And then at 80 carry is the one where I struggle with, where Hope apparently has been playing really well based on the metrics, compared to Kepler. I guess maybe it's more on the Kepler side that he's been so bad that Hope's metrics look really good comparatively. But nonetheless, Hope really has been lights out when it came to EGPM and now comparison when I saw these matchups. Um, but yeah, I think LGD has been playing slightly better, but very slightly. I think it's a toss up though. Like I can definitely see win conditions for anyone's legend through the jungler and in the bot through the bottom lane where Hope and Kale I think are better than Kepler and Jin Zhao. But in the mid lane, Hai Chao has been playing really well, and and I've seen Krako struggle at times trying to make plays in the mid lane, and Meteor Hai Chao has been really good. They have a good team chemistry and synergy, the jungle mid duo there. So yeah, I mean, even in the top lane though, it's about even in my opinion. Birdall has been playing okay. There has been a few games where he kind of popped off so far, but then have been few games where he just kind of was, not very effective. Playing some of the champions that he prefers. Harry on the other side of the matchup really has been about average. I don't know what more I can say compared to Birdall. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a wash there in the top lane. So yeah, I think it's a toss up, but just based on the metrics and everything, I'm leaning LGD, but I think both teams are in play. And in terms of kill upside, this also has a pretty high kill upside. Total kills over under is set at 23.5, just like the other NIP matchup that I talked about. And then CKPM is pretty high at 1.41, on this slate. So I think I'll have a little bit of both of these teams maybe for GPP. But if I have to pick a team winner in this matchup, it's gonna be I'm leaning LGD in this matchup. So I'll stop there and then take some questions. Hello, Jolly, welcome. Let's see, shot like Harden. What's the best contest for this? I don't see any with good prize pool. Well, is there? Let me see. Are there? I'm gonna see something. Let me see if I can do it on my phone real quick. Is the main GPP already filled? Yeah, I mean, that's not filled. There's a 10K to first, so you can still join that. And there's the Power Gauntlet, 3 entry max, 5K to first. So I mean, they're pretty good for League of Legends standards, right? So if you want to join those, feel free. There's not gonna be, I mean, it's not gonna be at the NBA or NFL traditional, popular sports level, but this is pretty good just given the history of League of Legends and other esports DFS contests. But feel free to make any, put in a ticket with the DK customer service. That'd be great. What's your Twitter? The emblem is covering it. It's at DFS Chan. It's right here, buddy. Right there. Yep. You can reach out to me and DM and slide into with any questions. Full fade on WE and KDF. WE, WE probably maybe, I don't know. But KDF, no. Okay, so let me go through one at a time. KDF, I haven't talked about it, but KDF has been playing really well lately. And I don't think Genji's odds I'll talk about at minus 2,000 is, you know, I think it's juiced. I think that's way too high. KDF has been playing really well lately, the last 4 games or so. So I do think KDF, their odds for KDF should be higher, better. And then for Team WE, yeah, I mean that's an interesting one. I do think that game also has a pretty good high kill environment, like I said, with NIP and WE. So I would maybe play Team WE as an underdog, but I don't think I'll have very much of WE. I think I'm mostly gonna play NIP and hoping that a lot of people flock onto the Team WE. But I do also think the ownership is gonna be low, and obviously the ownership on either of those teams is gonna be low. So you can leverage there as well by playing them. In terms of the captain talks, Jolly, let's see. I'll go through one at a time. Chovy or Pace for captain? Um, I would go with Chovy or Pace. I mean, I think both positions, Genji, are pretty strong, and both opposing players, Bulldog and Bull, have been really aggressive lately. So I do think that increases the kill upside for both of them. Um, I think Pays will definitely be higher owned compared to Chovy because there's naturally 80 carry position. So if you want to gain leverage, I think Chovy makes sense at captain. And then Photic versus Rookie is an interesting one. I looked at that earlier. But I would probably go with Photic for NIP. But I think it's a slight difference. And really, it's a crapshoot, right? Like, it really depends on what kind of champions those players end up playing. If obviously Rookie goes on LeBlanc or, some sort of aggressive champions that have a lot of kill upside. Whereas he could also play more utility champions, mage champions, that he's probably not going to be able to rack up as many kills. So it really depends on what they prefer and what they end up playing. And it's a crapshoot. But mid laners have been playing pretty well, performing pretty well in terms of DFS point production this year. So yeah, I think Rookie is definitely viable at captain as well. All right. I think those are all the questions I had so far. So let's dive back into the matchup analysis. Now we have 2 games in Korea. We have a really, really big favorite, like I said, in Genji at minus 2,000. And Genji starters really should not change unless there's like a, medical excuse for any of these players, like COVID or whatever. But even with COVID, I think they have a system in place where those players who have COVID can play remotely and connect in and stuff like that. So I'm pretty. I mean, 99% certain that these are going to be the starters for Genji. And they're playing against KDF with Dudu top lane, Cuz, Bulldog in the mid, Bull at 80 carry over Taeyun, who got benched after the first series, and Andil in the support position. Genji is one of the top 2 LCK teams for sure, along with T1. So I do think Genji, really should win this. Just from a sheer talent gap standpoint for these players, but also I think the metrics point to Genji's win as well. I think, let me go back to my notes. Genji has a slight, I think, yeah, Canyon had a slight advantage at EGPM, as well as KDF has played. Genji also has been playing really well, and Genji's numbers are superior to KDF's. Gen.G has an EGPM advantage, every single lane except for the top lane. So maybe if you are playing Gen.G, I would not prioritize Keen, who does not have as high of an EGPM compared to Dudu, which is surprising. But I think Keen is having a hard time getting settled and getting used to his new team in Gen.G, trying to fit, trying to find his role for this team and trying to, find a fit with this team. And I think it's going to take some time, especially given the new meta and new map where the top laners are really being asked to do it, do their own thing, like really, like on the side of the map, and kind of putting pressure on the other side of the map when things are happening on the other side of the map, on one side of the map rather. Sorry. So I do think his low kill participation and his role has been kind of, somewhat low priority when it comes to, engagements and participation and team fights and other events that are happening throughout the game. So I would deprioritize him in the top lane if you are stacking Gen.G. In terms of who I think will win, yeah, I think Gen.G's gonna win. But I do think KDF, like I said, I want to say, like, I want to re-emphasize that KDF has been playing really, really well. Like, they've beaten really good teams. I think they beat D plus Kia the other day, so it was very impressive. So yeah, I think KDF definitely has a shot. I mean, maybe 20% chance, 30% chance, maybe 30% chance. I mean, I think the way that they've been playing, they've been really good. They play in a play style that can upset any team in the world. They have been playing very aggressively. And I've told you guys that before on previous videos. Any underdog teams that are willing to be more proactive and willing to make plays around the map and not playing scared. Those are the teams that you want to take a chance on those teams as an underdog, and KDF fits that mold. So KDF has a shot. But if I were to pick a match winner, it's going to be Gen.G. In terms of kill upside, this one, yeah, like I said, the fact that KDF plays more aggressively is good for Gen.G, right? So it's good for both teams. I do think, overall, just given that context, I think this is a LCK matchup to target for DFS purposes, whether you play Gen.G versus KDF. I think KDF, I think it's a good underdog to play, just based on what I've said so far. I do think this is a high kill environment matchup where I think Gen.G is in a prime spot, really. I think total kills over under is set at 23.5, which is really equivalent to the other two LPL matchups that I just talked about, the AL LGD matchup and an NIP WE matchup at 23.5 total kills over under. So, and then CKPM, combined kills per minute. I mean, you saw 0.72 plus 0.73 equal 1.45, which is the highest among all 5 games on the slate. So, definitely worth a consideration here for Gen.G mostly. Now, KDF, like I said, with given the low ownership and the fact that the recent form for them, I think it's worth a consideration for GPP consideration as well. So yeah, I think Gen.G is in a good spot tonight. The last matchup of the slate is D plus Kia versus HLE. This is the marquee matchup of the LCK week this week. Both of these teams are projected to make the playoffs, so they're the top 5 teams, at least top half of the teams in the LCK. D plus Kia coming off of a big loss against KDF, like I said. And then HLE has been playing pretty well, up and down a bit, but that they actually had some slow starts to begin the season. but they've been coming along and they have a pretty good team. And both of these teams have really, really good players. As you can see, HLE has Peanut and Zika. He was a world champion. Viper is also a world champion. And then D plus Kia has Showmaker, and then Aiming has been playing lights out at 80 carry. And then I know they have a jungler that was called up from the academy level, but he was deemed as a very good prospect coming into this season, and he's been playing pretty well. There have been some challenges for Lucid, and there have been some struggles there along, when he tries to make plays around the map with his teammates. And obviously, Peanut will probably take a good advantage of Lucid's inexperience there. So HLE, I do think they are well-deserved favorite at -170. But when you look at the stats, they're basically a toss-up. HLE leads in the lane control percentage, but DK plus advantage in the jungle. And then I think jungle EGPM difference, HLE leads them. I think Peanut leads Lucid in that metric as well. And throughout the lane matchups, I think they're all kind of spread out and so forth. So yeah, so I think it's a toss up. I think it's a toss up at the end of the day. I am leaning HLE to win, just based on that. Peanut will probably do really well over Lucid. And I think aiming is the only really um, scary part on DK for me, at least. Showmaker has been up and down as well. He's been playing pretty well overall. Obviously, one of the best mid laners in the LCK so far. But aiming really, really has come about and proved to me that he is one of the better 80 carries in the LCK. Where Viper really used to be that guy at 80 carry. In the LPL, when he used to play for EDG, Viper was the 80 carry to emulate, and he kind of has fallen off last season for HLE, and coming back as an 80 carry in his second season at HLE. He still has been, he has still been struggling quite a bit, and right now, yeah, Aiming's form is definitely better than Viper's. So that's why I kind of struggle to pick, this matchup. There are advantages here and there for these teams, but I am leaning HLE, hoping that Peanut, will take a good care of the jungle, and help out his teammates that way. Now, in terms of the kill upside, that's a very interesting element that we need to talk about. Um, I might just full fade this matchup. D plus Kia, HLE. I might not play either of those teams because the total kills over under set at surprisingly at 20, period. 20 compared to 23.5 that we kept talking about earlier in this video. 20 is what I have seen on the sports books. And then it's supported by the low CKPM of 1.24 in aggregate for these teams. And in the LCK, I've said this before, with the exception of T1, really elite or good, really great LCK teams, when they go against each other, it's more than likely that they play a little more conservatively, and then it ends up producing lower kills because they know, they know the significance, and the weight of these matchups among the elite and great teams. And this is one of them. Like, DK knows HLE is going to be a playoff team and vice versa. So I do think it's going to be a lot more interesting. That Lucid probably, cuts back a little bit when making plays and so forth. Some, stuff like that. Like, little things will add up. And yeah, I think I might full fade this matchup just given the low kill upside and environment. But if I were to pick a match winner, it's gonna be HLE that I'm leaning on so far. So yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys. I think it's a more straightforward slate than this morning's, I believe. But if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Let's see if I have any questions in the chat. I will answer them before I end the stream. Brandon, welcome. He said, I'm fading Gen G. I think KDF can take a game. Yeah, I agree. KDF that's definitely has been playing well. So I definitely think it's a possibility. But also, like I said, if KDF keeps this competitive, which they definitely can based on their recent form, that can obviously bump up Gen G's kill upside as well, right? So it can go the other way. I've seen both ways, so we'll see. But it's a pretty. They are the biggest favorite, and they probably will be. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if they will be the highest owned team stack in the on the slate, just given the odds. But they're not an LPL team. I think if there was an LPL team at -2,000, I think they will be the highest owned team, depending on pricing, obviously. But here, an LCK team -2,000. I mean, they're definitely gonna be one of the higher owned teams for sure, and players for Gen G. But we'll see. It is kind of scary to full fade them though. All right, last question I have is from OG Gifted. Any positions that you should typically avoid for captain in League of Legends? That's a very, very good question. And it's interesting. It's an interesting question for this year. I would have said last year, at this point last year, I would have said top laner and support. And obviously the team, the actual teams, not the players. You know, so but so that's what I would have said last year, those three. Support, top, and the team positions. But this year, given the current meta, I would say only two. Top lane and the team position. Because so I would say support position, I think it's a more viable strategy to captain support. Um, and I said this on previous videos before. Because like I said, in the current meta, support players have been playing and scoring really well for DFS purposes, just accompanying the junglers and the AD carries throughout the games, playing more supportive utility champions that really don't have to do much to be able to rack up assists. So anytime those other roles rack up kills in team fights, support almost automatically gets an assist. So far, support players have been scoring really well, just given that meta change. And there are some players that like to play more aggressive support champions that have a kill upside, like Hui and Pike and so forth. So yeah, I mean there are a number of factors that really have made the support players, support captain position more viable to play this season compared to last. And I say the top laner still is not. I would say top laner is probably one of the worst positions to captain right now because of their lack of kill participation. Just given the new meta, I mean, I think most, like if not all of them, of the top lane players, kill participation is lower than 70%. I think some are even hovering around 50%. So just given that, I mean, even if your team scores, let's say, ends up with 20 kills, and the top laner is only involved in 10 to 12 kills, And most of the times they don't even, score kills in those matchups. It's mostly the mid laners or the AD carries or junglers that end up scoring those kills. So yeah, I mean, there's really not that much of an upside for top laners captain this season, and as well as previous seasons. OG Gifted says, why is LCK team at minus 2,000 more sus? I mean, it's not really sus, right? Like I think Genji should win. Genji is more talented on paper. Genji has been playing very well as well. It's just that KDF has been playing really well as an underdog. Ever since they made that change at AD carry, they've been really, really good. They play in a style that can upset elite teams by initiating team fights and being aggressive around the map. So, like I said, I really think the odds really shouldn't be minus 2,000. I think those odds are juiced. If I were a straight up better, obviously plus 825 is the one to go to. But in terms of the kill upside, it's really good in this environment. So Genji really should be played, I think. I mean, I can see that argument by Brandon about fully fading Genji, just from a DFS and ownership standpoint, but they're just in a pretty good environment tonight. All right, I think that's all I got for you guys. I answer all the questions, but if you guys have any other questions later, feel free to reach out to me at DFS Chan on Twitter or on Discord. This video, was made possible thanks to TrueDFS. So go check out TrueDFS website. I'll have a write-up in their premium section as well. And we have a lot of fun in the Discord channel as well. So if you want to just chat and have fun, it's a great community to be part of. Otherwise, yeah, until then, I hope you guys take down a GPP tonight, whichever contest that you play in. And then if you can please hit the like button down below. I know it's free for you guys, so just hit that button. It doesn't do anything for your algorithm or anything like that. So just, feel free to hit that. And also you'll get some notifications, obviously, when I go live in the future. So thanks a lot for watching, and yeah, good luck out there.